the fun part I loved about it was that like you guys were there, and I didn't have to worry that you were downstairs drinking in the basement or you were going to sneak alcohol. You were just not. I didn't have to think that way and be like, oh, I have to be responsible.
This is a dweeb.
And it was funny too because the cops would come around. They probably thought I was hosting like teen parties, and it was actually us. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
Happy post-Easter.
Happy post-Easter.
Love the content. I didn't make a lot of content this Easter. I decided to chill and not be worried about it. I know. It was weird though, because I feel like I didn't fully experience it because I didn't capture it.
There's no content to show for it.
Yeah. And Jonathan was a little bit like cooperative. So I got to do some, the content when we were out getting the cookies and went to the Lego store. But in general, I don't know. I tamed it down, and I don't know. What's weird is it almost doesn't feel authentic to do that now. It almost feels the opposite.
What do you mean?
It feels like I'm not as much in the moment when I'm not capturing it.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous.
I don't know. Because I like seeing things through a lens.
Yeah.
It's how I experience it. It's weird, but it was fine. It was very chill. It was very relaxing and good conversation and all the good baby news in the house. Like
it's crazy. It's so soon.
Seeing the baby belly, and it's just so much fun because it's so real. And I got to, shower her with some gifts, little baby things. That was fun.
I'm sure
they're registering. They finally decided they're registering. Our registry is almost done. Thank God.
Amazing.
So now that's nice. That's nice. It was good. And yours was mellow. You were in a park. Life is good.
We had a mellow day, and then we made some burgers, and it was very chill. Very nice.
Good.
But I don't have many jokes from last week, but I can share some jokes that I started to write this week, and I feel like they'll segue into our topic pretty nicely.
Okay, well, guess what? I wrote some jokes for you.
Oh my God.
Now, I didn't write... I structured...
Is it 5 minutes long?
No, it's very short. I structured what could play as a joke, but it's not really fully fleshed out. But I decided to tackle it a little bit instead of be an observer. So I should go first because mine's going to be so lame compared to yours.
No, it's not. Good.
And that way yours can segue in. Okay. So mine starts like this. I realized recently that Taylor Swift was really onto something with the Eras tour. We no longer have to use the word chapters in our life. We can now have eras, and I feel so cool. Let's talk about my eras. So we can go from the nerdy teen era to the innocent college era. So we'll call that my youth era. And then there was the marriage and kids era. And this is where it started to break into kind of mini eras. So I had my rollerblading era. I had my kind of CrossFit fitness era at the Chatham Club. Then I had my city era, which I kind of moved into now. And then my TikTok era. Ooh. And then there were eras within the TikTok era. So we had the baking era, the tutorial era, the cancer era. This is where it gets sad because I guess we went from eras back to chapters, and then not so cool after all. All right, that was my wrap up.
That was good. I like that.
Nice and short.
So proud.
Not so funny, but you get it. It was like I'm trying to be cool, and then all of a sudden, no, not so cool.
That is
back
funny.
to chapters.
I have one of my I like that eras is I had a funny idea for some jokes. These aren't like fully fleshed, but how Jonathan would go through eras is kind of how I thought of it.
Okay.
And so I was trying to write, I wrote a joke. I thought of this joke because I was inspired off of hearing someone talk about something similar at a mic. And my joke is that Jonathan, he is autistic, and the one thing about him and a lot of autistic people is that they like to watch the same things over and 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 over again. And growing up, Jonathan went through a Titanic phase. And because it was the 90s and because the movie was so long, it came out on 2 VHS tapes, and Jonathan only liked to watch the second tape. I didn't realize that Titanic had a romantic plot line until I was a teenager.
It's so funny.
I thought it was a doomsday action adventure about two friends escaping a sinking ship. I thought this was Marvel. So I want to write something about that, about his Titanic era.
That's funny.
That was a very impactful era. Cause I was
yeah,
I couldn't think of any eras on my own that were funny enough, but that was one where I was like,
"That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one." So the funny thing about Jonathan's errors, as soon as you started saying it, I was like, "Do you remember that he had a baseball hat error that he would not exist without a baseball hat on?" Do you have
I feel
any
like that was
memory of
before I was conscious.
I might have been before you were born, or no,
because there's a lot of pictures of him.
It's so crazy because I kind of forgot about that.
And now he's kind of back into his baseball hat. He loves wearing hats.
Yeah, he does. He wears the hats. Yeah. It's funny. He has had definite phases, but it's funny how it's like phases are so not cool until they started being called eras. That was the point of my bit that I missed, but somehow
I see.
You got me. You can help me.
I got
rewrite
you. All right, so let's dive
talk
in.
about the DURBO era.
Because we were going to talk about something else. Then I was like, I could have sworn at the end of the last episode we're like, this should be our topic for next week, and it was DURBO. So I feel like we've done a podcast about it before, but I feel like it's always a fun subject to revisit with fresh eyes because it was such an iconic era.
It was an era. It really was an era. I still have chatting people who comment on my videos and will say something about DURBO in the comments. So it's like literally a brand that just is around. I should have somehow figured out how to brand it.
Trademark.
Yeah.
But let's start with what does DURBO stand for?
Okay, it stands for Dance Your Butt Off because for some reason I decided it needed to have a name and I wanted to kind of brand it. And I couldn't figure out how to brand it. So I was like, I don't know how I got to Dance Your Butt Off. I don't really know how I came up with it, but I started putting things together and then I made a word. And that's how it started. So
DURBO's burn. Not stupid. What was the reason that you started DURBO? Like what was the impetus? Like what?
Okay,
moment.
So this is true facts because I can remember it like it was yesterday. But I used to always go running and I'd have my Walkman or my headphones at the time. Maybe there were iPods starting. But anyway, I would go running and I was always like having dancey music when I would run because that's what I like for exercise. And came back, either I would start a run or come back from a run and I'd be like in the kitchen, like pumping out the music in my headphones really loud and in my own space because it was a time where, you kids were in my space a lot. So I needed that was my space to exit. And I was like in my music and I was like dancing around the kitchen and I just somebody was bugging me probably, I won't say who. We won't. But maybe one of the children might have been bugging me, and I was just like, oh. So I had to take off my headphones, and then with that I said, and Tom was there, and I said, you know what? We just don't get to dance enough when we're like at this age because we're in a phase now where we're not going. It's when we go to a wedding. That's the only time we have a chance to dance, and I just really would love to have a party where I just have women over and we just dance. And Dad literally said, "Do it," just like that. He goes, so do it. Just like that, which he does sometimes to my crazy harebrained schemes. He'll go, do it, and I went, I'm going to do it. And he was like, just do it. I said, I'm going to do it Friday. So literally this was probably a Sunday before the next Friday that was coming. It was like, we were home on a weekend and I said, I'm doing it. And at that point, I happened to be in charge of the Rolling Hill Association. Do you remember this? It was the neighborhood association. And I worked my way into the presidency of that. So this was the year that I was probably, very involved in the Rolling Hill Association. So I had access to the email list and I just said, the hell with it. I'm sending out an email and whoever wants to come to this party, I'm going to have a dance. At the time I didn't have a name for it. It was like, I'm going to have a ladies' night dance party, blah, blah, blah. And I think at some point, maybe even in the early part of it, I had the idea to call it like a Dance Your Butt Off party and I put it out there. But I had that Friday, the house had at least 30 women in it dancing to my party. And I couldn't believe it because I just thought, I'll have like Melanie across the street will show up. Maybe Carmen will come. I just was thinking like, maybe my core few group of friends out there might show up. And it was epic. The first one was crazy. And it was because I planned the playlist myself. I used iTunes. I plugged it in. We had a really nice speaker system in the house. And I was like, I'm just going to move back the rugs and the furniture. And then I had a disco ball from a shoot. So I brought this little disco ball up with a disco light that would spin. Not a real, crystal
floor
one,
disco light.
A floor disco. with the colored lights. And I had this party and it was freaking epic.
It was epic.
It was epic.
Although I feel like I can't remember, like I feel like they've all conglomerated in my brain into
I
like
know.
one party. Like I can't, I'm like mad I don't
can't
remember
picture
the
them
first
separate.
one. Like they all kind of like mesh together.
know.
But I
I wish I
can't
could-
remember like
yeah.
the first one, which is like a bummer to be like,
Oh, I know. What was
but
the
I
first
feel like I
might
remember the
have-
last one. I
Do
feel
you
like the
think-
last one
maybe
was
I
huge.
could go back and find photos because I did find photos from some. And I'm like, okay, this was a later one because I could tell by the shoes I was wearing because I had those
Yeah.
shoes I had worn them to another dance event. So I knew that wasn't the first DURBO party. But I always like dressed up. I got into the gear, the outfit, you know, it was always like a crazy outfit. So I think the first one I wore like pink spandex maybe. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like in the beginning it was like, oh, it's like going to be a workout. Cause I think you also were inspired by the fact that you didn't like going to like Zumba classes or like those. Cause you just
too
wanted
organized.
to do you're too organized. You just want to do your own thing. So I feel like it was also cause you were in your Chatham Club era, but you didn't want to do the dance class workouts cause you didn't like how structured it was.
You are right. You are 100% right. That's exactly right.
Cause I think the
remember
first
that.
one you wore like exercise clothes.
I did. I think I wore like the
biker
pink
shorts.
spandex, and it was Olivia Newton-John-esque. I had the headband,
Yeah.
and the biker, the whole vibe of pink. Yeah, I think I do have those pictures. That might have been the first one, and then from there it just evolved. And each time I would try not to have a theme, but I was always like, I decided not to dress up in workout clothes. I would start to like kick it up, and that's when I started wearing heels. And I'm like, we're going to dress like we're going to the club. And it just went one to the next. It was crazy.
Crazy. What was your least favorite part about DURBO? Like, was there anything that you didn't like about it?
Okay, so the least favorite part was just like I would get stressed worrying that no one was going to show up, which is absurd.
I remember that. Yes.
And then and every time I entertain, back then I used to get more stressed about like everything had to be just right, like the house had to be right, and I'd have to have like the candle in the bathroom, and then it was like the stress of rolling up the carpet again. But I was very in that suburban era of everything has to be perfect when you have a party. I don't have that anymore. That's totally gone. I don't get so stressed about that. I don't really. I mean, even just yesterday having Easter, I was like, oh, I made sure the bathrooms were clean, but I wasn't like going crazy trying to put things in closets and hide things. It was just like, this is how we live. This is it. This is our house.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I do. So my favorite part. Okay. So my favorite part was the sense of what I did for these women, like the emails the next day, because it was so much bigger than just the dance party that night. Oh my God, I can almost cry like thinking about I would get emails from these women like, I haven't felt like this since I was in my 20s and you unlocked something in me that I didn't know was still there. And it was like the women wrote me from the depths of their soul emails, and I saved them. I think I even have I probably have a document in my computer with like DURBO testimonials or something, because I was like, I have to save this and remember what
Testimonials.
It was beautiful. Maybe at some point
One day.
I'll find it and we'll share it. But yeah, so that was it. That was good. It was good. It was the sense of community and the sense of women that nobody would not even hang out with each other. So I was always like this too in high school. I had friends I was friendly with all the groups in high school. Mm-hmm. So it was like, I wasn't a cool person in high school, but the cool people liked me enough. I wasn't an athlete, but the athletic girls liked me enough. My friends were more in the twirling and band group. So like I was in with those people, but I always had groups, like was in with the other. So I liked that all these women from different walks of my life could come together and be at this. And it was very unusual. Like it was like the cool ladies from the borough, and then the ladies from the neighborhood it was everybody came together, and they were all like, how do you know Helen? How do you know Helen? So it was like they had me in common, all of them. And then some of them brought friends and I didn't even know who they were. It just like escalated into a thing. It took on a life of its own.
It really did. If you could go back and like redo, like if you could go back and have one last DURBO like in the Chatham house, is there anything you would do differently? Like if you could, I mean, obviously there would be social media. You did do catering though.
I can't. No, I did it myself.
Yes, you did, because you got Marie's to cater a few times.
Oh, did I do? I should have done that sooner. I don't remember that. Okay.
I think towards the end you got a cater.
Right. I did one time have her bring food. Yeah, I guess I did that. Sometimes I think I should have had a DJ, but a little bit, it makes it different because then I'm not controlling the music and I know the vibe when the ladies were going to hit it with the, I Will Survive, that had to come on at a certain time or whatever. Like I would feel the room, but I could work with a DJ and say, these are the vibes, this is what I want next. And I could have my like standby playlist. So sometimes I think I should have had a DJ. That would have been really like the way to kick it up a notch, because I was always having to be on the music. I was always like watching the playlist and making sure what was coming next. And that became a little stressful.
But I also think that was like nice, because sometimes the worst part about doing a DJ is like they cut off the song right when you're like in it.
I hate that.
I know. So when you just let
never
the playlist run, we're just doing the whole song, like start to finish. You get all the, and especially those oldies. Like sometimes I play some of my older DURBO inspired music, and I'm like, oh my god, the song is like 4 minutes long. Like it is so long, but it is crazy.
I know it. Yeah, sometimes it was too long, and then I'd have to jump over there and change it. But you know, it was also because it became like a sing along, and like people when they cut it off before you're just getting into the part where it's a sing along, and then they cut. I hate that. But yeah, I think maybe I could have worked with a DJ if I would have found the right DJ.
Like you should have had like maybe like a bartender to do like fun drinks or something. Like I think that would have been like a more
that's you
fun,
thinking.
Like activation.
The fun part I loved about it was that like you guys were there, and I didn't have to worry that you were downstairs drinking in the basement or you were going to sneak alcohol. You were just not. I didn't have to think that way and be like, oh, I have to be responsible. And it was funny too, because the cops would come around. They probably thought I was hosting like teen parties, and it was actually us. And then we had the time where the teen boys knew we were having the party, so they stole a cooler out of the backyard, and that was the heist. But for the most part, the heist. But everybody knew. And you know, Carmen used to tell me, this is so funny, I forgot. She would go, my friends want in on your party. like it was like to get on the invite list. And I used to think like everybody's welcome. Nobody has to be on an invite list. You know, that was funny. Mm-hmm.
You should have a DURBO. Really if you had a DURBO now, like how would you execute it? How would you make it happen?
I think about it a lot. And I think because I'm friendly with Chris Anderson now, who I go to the dance events in the city, and she's like, I wish I knew you during the DURBO years, because we didn't know each other out in the suburbs. We only met here, and we have that so much in common. And there's a lot of people I've met through the years that are like, oh, I wish I would have known you during those years, because they lived close by and they would have come. So if I could do it now, I don't know. When you say if I could do it over, I would love to do it over. I would love to say,
if you planned a DURBO for this summer, what would the vision be?
I would pick a club, like to have it out there. Like I would pick a place out there that would be like that would have
Chatham?
The good speakers. Yeah. I'm making this up, but let's say the Fairmont Country Club. That's a little too kind of fancy.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine? Although I do think I could draw a crowd at the Fairmont Country Club.
I think
really
you could.
I think I could do it. But maybe like one of the pubs that has, I don't even remember the names of those pubs, but there's like, there was one where we used to go sometimes for pub food, and they would play the games, but have the games playing. You know, on Fairmont, there was like a pub there. I don't know. I can't remember. But I would think like to have it at a place like that, and to do some kind of a the Muthership has landed type of thing, like that I would use like Muthership branded, like landed or the Muthership returns or something like, like ET come home or ET phone, like the Muthership home. Anyway, so it'd be like that. And then I think I could get a network of people that would go. I really do. I think I could. I think word of mouth. I think I could.
But would you want to not do it in the city, I guess?
I wouldn't want to do it in the city, because I think that would limit who would come. Because the people that would want to come to this, like, would want to relive that. And so they're all probably Jersey based. I don't think a lot of them would want to schlep into the city for it. I just don't think they would.
Yeah.
I just think it sounds cool. It sounds like, oh, that'd be an event. Everybody would come. I don't think so. I don't think people would come as much. I don't. Because I remember one time, do you remember when I had the DURBO party at my office?
Oh, yes, I do.
And, very few people came from, and I invited them all.
Few.
I said, who? Very few.
Very few people came.
Very few. But very few did come, because it was like more of an event to get there. Whereas when it was right in the local neighborhood, it was pretty easy to pop in. You didn't even have to make a big commitment. Like a lot of women don't like to commit to something, and it's like, maybe I'll stop by, and then at the last second, I think she's having that party tonight, and then run over. So I do think it would be better to have it local, because I think that would be the whole point of it, like having it back there, bringing it back home. Be so funny to knock on the old neighbor's door and say, "Would you mind if we had a party here?"
Oh my God, can you imagine? You should just find a house that's like for sale and then like ask to rent it for.
That would be kind of funny. I know
funny.
enough realtors out there. I should ask some of my real estate friends if they have an empty one. Let's do it. But I always think let's do it. But then I'm like, somebody has to really take the wheel with me because I'm not plugged into that group anymore. I was like, I have to really contact someone. I'd have to contact someone that would be as into it. You know who just commented recently on one of my videos, and you're going to die laughing. Sue Beatty. And I think she listens to the podcast possibly. So maybe Sue, if you're listening, maybe we could put this together because I think she commented on my recent one of our posts and said DURBO or something like that, DURBO forever. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Because there's a few people that just get it. They were always at them.
Mm-hmm.
And I could picture her at the parties all the time. It was so much fun. Oh my God.
They were
and I think
fun.
that that's part of why I like what's happening with the studio does relate in a way because I'm bringing women together that might not normally. No, I don't think women. A lot of the women in the studio would normally like hang out together, but now they've kind of become friendly with each other. So it's the same kind of thing at the house. We'd be at the house, and then I think people would meet, and they'd be like,
they become friends.
Got to be friendly. So I brought a sense of community, and I loved that. I loved the things that people told me the next day. I remember they would bring little gifts and I would open the cards. So beautiful.
So precious.
It was precious. So innocent.
It was so good.
And then I had to figure out, I'd get people dancing with the shots. So I had my,
I know. Your shot tray.
My shot tray. But I always had my shots like a little half shots. So that way I could do shots with everybody and not be completely on the floor in 5 minutes flat. So I would have my quarter shot and then they would take the shots. And
a little baby shot.
I had to do that. Otherwise, you got to keep it together.
DURBO parties were always so fun on my end because I'd invite my friends.
Yes.
And then we'd come up and dance for a little bit. And then if we didn't know the songs, we'd go back downstairs. And then we'd
So what was your favorite part? What was your favorite part?
I mean, I like dancing. I feel like just dancing was fun. And like when I was able to drive, I just started driving the ladies home. I was like Uber.
Making the money.
I think a funny thing is I think one of my friends had like their first kiss the night of a DURBO party because like a guy met them up down the block and like asked them to dance or something. Yeah.
That's cute.
So iconic.
You want to say who?
No, I don't know.
Okay. It's okay. We'll keep her privacy, but that's cute.
Isn't that cute? But it was also fun because I feel like it happened like through middle school and high school for me. Like it started in middle school. And then like, I guess towards the end, I feel like maybe people started to get more like definitely people in my school knew about it even too. Like not just my friends. They're like, oh, your mom's having that party.
Oh my God. I never thought
Or like
about
my mom was at your mom's party this weekend. I'm like, oh yeah, I know.
Was it funny for you to see the moms of your classmates?
I think it was funny because I feel like it was so interesting that like, I wasn't super popular. I wasn't like a nerd. I was like very much in the middle in my town and school. So like the fact that like popular kid moms were like dancing with me on the dance floor and like whipping me around was just kind of also a hilarious thing that I was like, I'm more friendly with the parent, with your mom than the actual person in my grade.
Oh, that's so amazing. Do you think that, would you say it was a positive influence on your years of your teen years? Oh, I never really think about it in that way. That's so sweet. What about your friends?
I think they all love it because they all talk about it still. Part of me is like, I need to have a DURBO party. Like I'm just about to have like a birthday part. I'm going to have a birthday barbecue for my birthday.
Fun.
But I'm like, it'd be fun. Now I'm thinking like, if it was a DURBO, that'd be fun. But I don't know how that would like work here. And
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I just like that this is part of your...
I have a DURBO playlist that I listen to.
Oh my God.
When I want to listen to like older tunes.
Oh. Well, there was some funny memories that would, because I was trying to think of like what would be, how you were saying like your favorite part. But one of the funny memories that came out of this was there was a very high level executive lady from one of the like medical because we were out there by a lot of the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
And I came to find out later she was really like, I want to say like CEO level of one of the pharmaceutical companies or something. Anyway, somehow ended up at our house. I have no idea because I don't know who knew her, but it was like a connection because people would start bringing people. So then it became it started to spin a little out of control. It never really got out of control. But this was really crazy because she was in like sequins and another lady, and things got a little girl on girl cray on the dance floor, and their sequins got connected with each other, and one of them had like fishnets and the other one had sequins, and it was like this whole thing happened, and that was crazy. And then someone else did like a floor slide, like somebody
I feel like I remember that, like the worm almost,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies are getting wild.
They were getting wild, but that was crazy. And that whole like the two ladies, that was like the talk of the party. And I was like, who were those two, and how'd they get in? Like, you know what I mean? Because people started to get in.
Who do you know here?
Right. It was funny, but it was definitely, it became the place to go, like the party to be at. So I think that it's an interesting memory that I left in that town that I think will always be there. And I think it was, and I must have had like 6 to 8 of them, right? If we go back in time,
a few.
Easily. Because
at
it was
least
like a
5.
Rhythm. Yeah. I think it was, because I was numbering them. It's like Durbo number 6. I swear we got to Durbo number 6 because I remember thinking Mambo number 6, but that's why I kind of remember.
Oh my God.
But I have to go, and I probably go back and find more. I'm going to try really hard and see if I can find these testimonials of the things that people said, because that was probably what made me keep doing it. Because sometimes I'd be like, oh, I can't do this again. Do you know the house was like a freaking bar at Okay.
I know.
The floor, the sticky, when a bar has got sticky floor because everyone's wasted and they're spinning and like the floors are sticky from alcohol. It got like that. The food, like at the end of the night, some of my best memories are me and maybe Camille, Catherine, Lisa, my friend who lives in Chatham, but I grew up with, Lisa Hart. So we would always be wrapping it up at the end, and they were always helping me clean up. So it was always like the core group at the very, very end that were there, and we would be like playing our favorites when everybody left, like the old standbys. And Heidi across the street, she still talks about it. She still lives there. She's still in the neighborhood, remembering those parties. But people would stay around and help clean up. And those were like some of the best times, because then we play like the Indian reservation song that we all think is like an oldie. Yeah. And everybody, so funny. It was fun. It was good memories and different, and just something like out of the ordinary that took on a life of its own. And I really did. It's such good memories of a time, of an era.
Of an era. It continues.
It was an era. What happened when I brought it to the city, though, it had a different vibe, because I mostly had work people. When I had work people, I couldn't limit it to just women, because the industry is so vast. It's like, okay, well, now do we cut it off with like the gay men, or like where do we stop the line? So it's like everybody, whoever wanted to dance could come.
So there was
I work in an industry where the men dance. So, I can picture the one of the PAs who was like ripping it the whole night. He was so good. Like
That's awesome.
So it was like, nobody was like wallflower dancing. Like you go to a wedding and the men don't want to dance, so maybe they don't want to, like a lot of the men aren't dancing and the women are dancing together. This was not like that. So when I kicked it up to the work thing, it took on that I have photos of. When I had the balloons on the ceiling, it was beautiful. I had the whole office filled with balloons. I had Oreo cookies made with the Muthership logo. I made it like a work event, and it was really good, but it was different good. It wasn't the same Durbo vibe.
Yeah.
It was more like an epic work dance party. It wasn't a legit Durbo.
I do miss the Durbos. They were a good one. And I liked revisiting it this week on the pod. This was good.
Thank you for taking me there. I know we've talked about it in brief form another time, but it was worth it.
No, it's good doing the deeper dive.
It was worth it.
And I do want to write jokes about this, because I do think it is very funny and very unique to me and only me.
And you know what's funny? I have the pictures right now open on my computer of when I had the balloons and the party in the office. So I'm going to I think what'll be good is I'm going to send Steven some of these photos, and he could because I have photos at the other parties too, the house ones. Yeah. I have the ones where I'm wearing recently I posted one of me in the gold top and the big shoes. So I have pictures from the house. It's just that it's hard to see. Those photos had to have flashes on them because back in the day, right? So we had flash. And so everything's bright. Meanwhile, it was dark in the house.
Yeah.
So it's a little deceiving to see it because it
doesn't show
like,
the vibe, the proper
It doesn't give the vibe properly. It doesn't give the disco ball.
But you'll get
properly.
it. You'll get it.
You'll get it. Maybe I'll darken the hue.
The edges.
I'll put a vignette around it. I'm going to send you some photos so that he can put it in the episode. That'll be fun, and you can see the crew. This is great.
The full
I like
crew.
this idea. All right. Well, this is good. Thanks for taking us there. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming with us on this ride. Yours truly,
Helen and Julie.
Okay. If you want to hear more about the DURBO parties, let us know. But I think we've probably covered it.
Did. Make sure to leave a review. Follow us on Instagram. We'll post some. If you send me the pictures, I'll post them on the Instagram this week.
Okay. Oh, good idea. We got to tag the people in them.
Yeah.
It's going to, oh my gosh, this is epic. All right.
Alrighty.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace out. Bye.